Hello YouTube, I'm back again. I am incredibly inconsistent with my upload schedule, but nobody watches my videos anyway, so it doesn't matter. But no, that light's gonna annoy me. I actually have an idea for a video. I have a new desk put in my room so all my books look beautiful and I have a good background instead of just my scungy window. I wrote a full-ass script for this because I am so prepared on my brand new laptop and I'm so excited. I've never had a laptop of my own before, so I'm like super excited, and this has better editing software on it than my friggin'... There's like a really loud bug outside. It has better editing software than my freaking iPad, so we are on track to getting over 50 subscribers one day. But in all seriousness, Ready Player 2 ruined my life. I haven't even finished this book, but I have so much to say on what I have read. It's just disheartened me so much. So, I spent about probably 2 or 3 hours last night writing down my feelings about this because I have a lot of feelings. I hate this book. I fucking hate this book. It's so bad. And I've only uploaded like 3 videos, not including all the cringy childhood ones that I privated. And the one that has done the best and gotten over 500 views, which like anybody who watched that video that's watching this one, thank you, is because it was on trend. It was a new book. It was like, I hit that algorithm, boy. And also, for some reason, no one else was making a video about Conference of the Birds. I don't know. Just, it's a trendsetter. I'm gonna stop. Okay, you know. I am super excited because I have a lot to say. I hope this will be an entertaining video, so keep watching if you want to watch me shit on Ready Player 2. I have about 4 main points construed over about 14 or 15 pages and 2,384 words. So, I'm gonna get into that now and stop procrastinating. Also, I did like a screen test last night with this camera setup and this backdrop, and my chair is so loud. I'm gonna try not to move. I am sorry if that happens though. I'm gonna turn the brightness down a little bit actually. Oh, don't flicker like that. It makes me think I'm gonna get electrocuted. Alright, enough fucking around. Let's get into this. Point number 1. Okay, no, I forget it. Point number 1. Wade and James Halliday are completely ruined in this story. Like, just... Wade is now a socially inept, reclusive asshole who abuses his admin powers. They took all of his development from the first book and just throw it out the window. It's infuriating. You need tension and character development in a story. That's what makes it enjoyable. So I understand that, like, he can't be perfect, but there is no redeemable qualities. Everything that made him a better person in the first book is just completely disregarded, and then all of his bad qualities are made worse. Like, his, like, stalkerish and obsessive tendencies are made so much creepier, and the book enables him. In the first book, he has a noticeable obsession with Artemis, but they actually become friends and spend time together. We see him develop the social skills that he lacks from a life of constant Oasis access and pretty much no time in the real world, and this provides some of the most genuinely enjoyable interactions in the entire book. His creepiness comes back to bite him in the ass, however, when Artemis decides to get her shit together and actually try and win the contest, and then that resorts him back to being all like, you know, incel-y kind of. And he goes to her place with a boombox over his head and tries to contact her way more than it's clear that she wants. Like, she is not interested right now, dude. Read the signs! It's only when she gets ahead of him in the contest, followed by H, that he decides to get his shit together. From there, he catches up with H's help and devises a plan that leads to one of the most suspenseful and interesting parts of the whole story, where Wade purposefully gets indentured and has to pull off espionage without any assistance the Oasis gives him in regards to skills and pretty much immortality. It had the most real stakes in the whole book because if he fails, like, everything happens. Like, he's fucked. He is permanently indentured by IOI, and they get to take the Oasis with their huge advantage as a mega corporation. His journey was enjoyable, and seeing him learn from his mistakes and grow as a person was genuinely, like, the most enjoyable part of the book. Then Ready Player 2 comes barging in and takes a fat shit on all of that. He uses his money, admin abilities, and rabid fan base to attack, torment, and kill his critics, I refuse to say haters, simply because he is miserable with his lonely and alienated existence that he himself caused because he once again got addicted to the Oasis and now the ONI. That whole part of this book makes me so angry. Like, the last line of the first book. It occurred to me then that for the first time in as long as I could remember, I had absolutely no desire to log back into the Oasis. Then by the next book, we just have a few pages of explanation as to where we're at and what the ONI is, and then it's like, it's been 3 years, the whole world got addicted, so did I'm miserable, my life sucks. I just scared the shit out of my cat. I'm so sorry, honey. Are you okay? She's just gone back to sleep. It doesn't faze her. All of the potential nuance and development that we could see with Wade slipping back into addiction, ostracizing himself from Samantha, Helen, and Akihide is completely wasted on a massive and convoluted time skip right at the start of the book. And look, at the start of the first Ready Player One book, at the start of Ready Player One, yeah, there's a bit of an info dump because this is a new world, and I guess it could have, and oh my god, and I agree, it could have been handled a bit better. It is one of my favorite books of all time, but I understand that there's flaws with it because there's flaws in everything. At least from there, it develops as a story and gets interesting. Once you get past that first chunk of the book that's a little bit of a slog to get through, it's amazing. But this is like the whole first 3 chapters is explaining, like doing a little bit of setup as to where we are. Massive time skip. 3 years. A 3-year time skip at the start of your book. Literally, the second chapter, there's and it's like, oh yeah, it's been 3, like. I hate this book so much. Then, Wade proceeds to use his access to GSS's database to illegally look up the personal information of the one person who is actually interested in befriending him, Lohengrin. Befriending Lohengrin. What makes this worse is the fact that he acknowledges this is wrong both morally and legally, but continues to do it and makes excuses for himself. Like, who is this guy? Who is this? I don't know who this is. Having a hero stoop to a level that low is allowed and even welcomed in fiction. We want complexity in characters and see how they rise above and make amends for their actions. The issue with this is that he never faces any repercussions for his actions. It's incredibly frustrating. I hate it. I hate this book. They also make him a complete dumbass, but I'll get to that and his one good character moment later in the video. When the reviews first came out for this book saying that Wade basically became the villain, I was like, nah, I'll read it for myself. There'll be justification because there's a lot of hate for the first book that I don't agree with and I feel there is explanation behind. But now that I have read most of it, I haven't finished it yet, I guess I'm inclined to agree. I'm sorry I am the way I am, I had to. This gives me a nice segue into the absolute character assassination of James Halliday. Halliday isn't a perfect character in Ready Player One by all means, but it's meant to be that way. His story is designed to be like directly parallel with Wade's, but showing the differences between them in regards to the choices they made throughout their life, a la Anakin and Luke Skywalker. We are told of all of had. We are told of all of had. We are told of all of Halliday's idiosyncrasies and oddities. And it's good foreshadowing for the direction Wade is going in if he doesn't fix some shit fast. But we also come to learn throughout the story that Halliday really regretted a lot of his life and his reclusivity, because he pushed everyone away and lashed out at his employees for not understanding his passing comments about obscure pop culture references and fired them, and then Og had to hire them back and he wouldn't notice anyway. They also touch on his slight obsession with Kira/Karen, whichever one, I don't know, I'm not going to stick to one in this video because they use both of them all the time. I went so monotone. And how that became another major one of his regrets, never having a real relationship with her and just pushing her away with his creepy tendencies. We see as the egg hunt plays out, another selfish play of Halliday's to get people involved in all the things he loves dearly, that it divulges into a message to the participants to not live like he did, to go out there and try and fix the world, to enjoy real human company and make bonds that are actually going to last, because, you know, reality is the only thing that's real. It's so sad that we can see he only reached his conclusion at the end of his life in complete isolation, as the final challenge requires 3 crystal keys to open the final gate. I just love that so much, I don't know. It's his last-ditch attempt to try and help others avoid the tragedies of his own life. This is also reflected in his final speech to Wade and the fact that he reached out to Og, his only friend, before the cancer overtook him completely. And it's really well done in the movie as well. It's definitely elaborated on much more. Even though I have a lot of issues with the movie, it's still good. I enjoy it. And the way they kind of cleaned up Ready Player One in a way makes me actually excited for the Ready Player 2 movie, because I know they're going to fix this mess. But in true Ready Player 2 fashion, none of that is carried over. Halliday is fully demonized in this book. Like, he is an absolute piece of shit. He is absolutely unhealthily obsessed with Kira/Karen, way beyond what is disclosed in the first book, taking various personal memories from her life and recreating them in the creepiest fucking accuracy. Like, that is so goddamn scary. I cannot even deal with that. This man makes a digital AI copy of a dead woman he was in love with to try and force it to fall in love with his AI now that he's dead. Like, what? What the fuck? Then his AI traps like hundreds of millions of people in his game and gives a maximum 12-hour time limit to their lives. Just to get what he wants. Just to get the, like, this man. Endangered over 500 million people's lives, so he could force the AI copy of a dead woman he was obsessed with to fall in love with him. Good job, Klein. You just created my new worst nightmare. Not to mention he, like, fully fucking kidnaps Og and wounds him so grievously that he dies in the end. Just another little quirk to his character, I guess. Like, you think he would just leave his characters alone, but no, this is, like, all throughout the book. All the reviews saying that this is just, like, a worse, more horrible version of the first book were right. Like, that's literally what he's doing. Samantha is still enjoyable as hell, the best character in the whole book, but now she's a dumbass. Don't you touch Samantha. She is my boo. I love her. I wish we were friends. I wish we were best friends. And now she's fucking idiot. Samantha understandably breaks up with Wade over the whole ONI debacle. Another example of him being a complete asshole as he records their private conversation, uploads it to the internet so everyone can bash her, and also refuses to see her side of the argument and doesn't even consider the risk that this tech poses to people. Like, gold star for being a douchebag. All throughout the time skip and the setup to the actual plot, we see Samantha's efforts to help the real world and her push to regulate the ONI more constantly being rejected. There's clear animosity and betrayal you can feel oozing from her character in these scenes, and it just feels so right for the character. Congratulations, Klein, you got one thing right! But once the challenge starts, she's just like gung-ho all of a sudden, and her and Wade's relationship just like starts healing out of nowhere. Like, she's excited, eager to help, but still sarcastic and intelligent, just like the Samantha we know and love. She's enjoyable to read and absolutely the best character in the whole book, much like the first one. Oh, it's on my desk. Much like the first one. But there's like no justification for it. It just happens out of nowhere and it's so unbelievable. It just taints the joy the character brings to me. There is no meaningful conversation between Samantha and Wade that makes this change any easier to swallow. Hell, he doesn't even apologize to her formally until over halfway into the book when they're setting up the finale. Like, they've got like 2 shards left to find, and he's like, Samantha, I'm sorry. And she's like, you never cease to amaze me, Watts. And it's like, more like, thanks, asshole. I've been waiting for that for years, you absolute piece of shit. Why? I'm taking back my compliments, Klein. This is just so fucking lazy. Side characters from the first book are minimalized too much, and the new ones do nothing and are boring. H and Shoto are just reduced to, I know what that is! Let me tell you what to do, Wade! Throughout the whole book. And we get like 3 facts about their life each. It's so irksome. They didn't have the most complex stories in the first book, but they had personality, and we came to learn things about their backstories that showed how they became the people we see now. All of that is just like erased in this book, and they get nothing. All they do is serve as Wade's encyclopedia, because apparently now he's a dumbass that doesn't know anything, and they just have to like tote him along like he's a child and be like, I can't believe you don't know this, Wade. And he's like, I can't believe I don't know it either. I thought I was smart, but apparently I'm a brainlet now. It's all such a huge slap to the face of Ready Player One that I can't. I fucking hate this book. I'm sorry. You deserve a better sequel than this. It's okay. We'll just go back to 2011. Wait, actually, let's just go back to 2019 before I knew this was coming out and was actively excited for it for over a year, and then this is the end result. Also, I don't have a physical copy of the book because I listened to it as an audiobook. The new characters are boring and virtually add nothing to the story. Faisal is irritating and is just an employee. There's not much to him. He's like the line of communication between GSS and the High Five. He does nothing else. Enough said. Like, cut him out. There's no point. The Lo-Fi were alright, I guess. They just didn't really add much beside doing things off screen for Wade and serving as a reminder for what he lost. By the way, lovely viewers of this video, how do you think this character moment is portrayed? How do you think Klein went about using the Lo-Fi as an example for what Wade lost? Of course it's through Wade being creepy, eavesdropping on their private conversation and digging through the files to find out who they are in real life. Because that's what we've come to expect from this asshole that is the main character. You really didn't want people to enjoy this book, did you, Klein? No. The time constraints ruined the pacing completely. In an attempt to make this book bigger and better than the last one, as previously mentioned, there is now a 12-hour goddamn time limit to find 7 things, and to find them you have to do all these really complicated tasks and really hard boss battles, and it's like... Yes? Yes! I can cut it out. Instead of adding tension and higher stakes, it just completely decimates the pacing. The first book took place over like an entire year, and we saw the characters interacting with each other, doing things in with the quest, and actually struggling to figure out the clues. It really showed the difficulty level and how much they struggled trying to figure out Halliday's clues to find a, quote, maddening MacGuffin. I love you, Artemis. You are a gem of a fictional character. The whole story is they find a clue. Klein picks a character out of a hat to recognize what it is. They instantly know where to go, what to do, and have like half a paragraph max time to think about it. Like, it's just so unbelievable and rushed. It also makes the book incredibly repetitive and super difficult to get through. I'm gonna level with you, Klein. What happened? Are you okay? What happened to your writing abilities? This is the worst book I've read since An Enchantment of Ravens. Actually, no, this one's worse because it rubs its filth and inadequacies all over its predecessor like it's Mean Girls 2 or something. Okay, I've been really hard on this book, so I'm going to mention exactly 3 things that I have genuinely enjoyed while listening to it, reading it, whatever. Challenges may be rushed as all hell, but they provide entertainment in their own right. They're interesting and they provide good imagery while you're reading. The John Hughes world was particularly enjoyable for me, and Artemis was just hilarious throughout that whole section. The attempted murder, oh my god, stop looking at your script, Ava. The attempted murder of Samantha and the ensuing plane crash is super fun and suspenseful. Ignoring the fact it's another felony attached to the utter douchebag that is now James Halliday, Samantha's sarcasm, snark, and persistence really shines through, makes it super enjoyable, and it provides some real stakes and some real worry for all the main characters. Is she dead? Is she alive? Is she injured? Is she inebriated? Like, what the fuck is going on? That he just tried to crash a plane into her face, you know? But it's truly suspenseful and enjoyable. It's almost like a lesser version of Wade's indenturement espionage of IOI in the first book. The best part of Ready Player 2 by far, however, is Wade's emotional breakdown. Stop saying broke down. Wade's emotional breakdown on Halcydonia. Klein got his writing back ability briefly. I guess. In this section, Wade has to travel to Halcydonia. It's briefly mentioned 1 or 2 times in the first book, and it's the childhood education epicenter that Ogden and Karen created. This place is just a cesspool of painful memories of his difficult childhood and his mother's passing. It was his only place of refuge in a shitty world with a horrible childhood, and it was just completely stained when his mother passed away. There's digital belongings of hers and even a photograph of them together, and it just all becomes way too much for him to handle. He breaks down completely, and we see Samantha really gently and lovingly bring him back to reality and bring him out of his panic spiral and just his overwhelmedness. It's such a compelling and heartbreaking scene, it actually had me in tears. It's genuine and heartfelt and just honestly belongs in the first book, so we can just write this one off in the history books because that is level player 1? Ready Player 1 level writing. That's where my script ends, so I have to do this outro on my own. Overall, this book sucks. I hate it. That's it. There's a ghost that opened my door, apparently. It just ruins all the characters from the first book, has a really rushed and repetitive plot that makes it really difficult to get through, and like the few good moments sprinkled throughout the book just don't justify reading it for me. Like, I was so excited for this. I was waiting for it for like over a year. Thought I'd have to wait until 2025, but I wish it didn't exist right now. I wish it would happen later in life and I wouldn't be as distraught as I am now. But yeah, it's just so disappointing. Like, I know the first book isn't perfect, but I love the first book. It's one of my favorite books of all time. I can read it in a day. The last line makes me cry. I know the plot off by heart, and I love the just funny and enjoyable interactions between the characters. And all of that is void in the second book. Like, it's not there. There's no charm. There's no enjoyment that I get out of it. And it's so infuriating. Oh my god, I fucking hate this book. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed me ranting, going off about how much I hate this book, like, comment, subscribe, whatever, all the YouTube garbage. And yeah, I appreciate you stopping by. I will see you next time. I apologize for that. I promise I will try and upload more regularly now that I've got a proper editing tool, a backdrop that I'm more happy with, and I don't know, a bit more time on my hands. Actually, I have less time on my hands. I want to do it more now, so